Check 1 2, check 1 2, check 1 2, check 1 2, check 1 2. All right, there we go. Finally works. So we're gonna get this thing started. Get my other AirPod in here. So getting the park podcast going back up again after I'm healthy, finally recovering off my broken foot and gets some time and got the space to work with now. So I'm just gonna be breaking down the NBA trade deadline madness, the Super Bowl preview of tonight's game, and then college basketball rankings is what's going on with that. So yeah, that's the slate today. I'm not for sure how long it's going to be. Probably 30, 45 minutes. We'll see how it goes and how that's working. Got a new background, got a couple of new mics for Christmas. Thank you to my parents. That's all good stuff. And let's get to the slideshow now. We'll be breaking down three main sports going on right now. The NBA, college basketball, and NBA, college basketball, and then Super Bowl today. First, we're going to be talking about the NBA trade deadline, the blockbuster trade that we saw between from Trey Young to James Harden, and every major and minor move. Also, Jaren Jackson Jr. was thrown in there, and yeah, a lot of big time trades that went around. Rob got traded away from the Timberwolves for AO from the Bulls. Then we're going to be going into talk about the Super Bowl, the Seahawks and the Patriots at Levi Stadium, coming to predict what I think the odds are to the matchups, and the predictions of the game. March Madness, or I mean, not March Madness yet, but as we're getting closer to March Madness, college hoops, March Madness heating up. Arizona remains undefeated at 22-0 as the tournament approaches, conference tournaments, and March Madness is going to be around the corner before we know it. I think conference tournaments, the Big 12 starts 30 days or something. Trying to be doing hot takes, all that good stuff. So the NBA trade deadline, there's 20 plus major trades, big time going down on February the 5th was the deadline, and we'll be talking about a few of the trades, winners and losers of that. Trade deadline, the final day was February 5th at I believe 3 o'clock, and it did not disappoint. After it let up with one trade in the months of October through January, the league exploded through the last couple of days before it finally hit zero at the trade deadline. Over 20 major deals, and it's gonna make for championship runs or rebuilds and tanks this year. See out a few teams like the Wizards trying to tank, but the Cavs trying to push in for a late playoff run. Out also OKC had Jared McCain comes off the bench, gives them some juice, and then All-Star or a few of the All-Stars found their new homes. Like I said, Harden and Jaren Jackson Jr. Be talking about draft picks, rebuilding, superstars on the move, and contenders loading up. Deadline was 3 p.m. Eastern on the 5th, and we saw a lot of big time players moved and picks were involved. 24 teams were involved, and that's a little preview of the trade deadline. Now we're gonna be talking about the biggest blockbuster trades. First one is obviously Trey Young. That was in the beginning of the year. Also, the Wizards added Anthony Davis too, but they're both hurt, so they're gonna be staying for the majority of the season, if not all the season. They're gonna be trying to tank to keep that first round pick. Probably gonna be landing in top five, and that's what you want to need in this loaded draft class. This young college hoops players like Darren Peterson, AJ DeBainstuck, Cole Pete, Caleb Wilson. You got Cam Boozer, absolutely loaded. That's just some of the big time names. You got Keen Wagler, then Braden Smith, Purdue, Graham Ike from Gonzaga, Teo Owe, Nate Ament, forgot to name him out of Tennessee. You got Condon out of Florida. Yeah, big time players. So Trey Young got sent to the Wizards for CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. That was the first big trade that went down in January that set the trade deadline in stone, got it kicked off a little early, a couple weeks, and then thing really took off the last week. Next big time trade was Jaren Jackson Jr. headed to the Jazz. So the Jazz trying to rebuild and regroup here as they're gonna try to do a big time move. Jaren Jackson Jr. got sent out of Memphis Grizzlies, three first round picks and a couple players. So yeah, John Morant's kind of stuck by himself on the Memphis Grizzlies. See how he shapes out if he'll be moved in the off season, if he was gonna just want to be a Grizzly for life or what he's gonna want to do. Then we got James Harden for Darius Garland and the second round pick. James Harden's coming in the league this year at 36 years old. Darius Garland's 26, 10-year gap there. So Clippers trying to regroup and get younger. They're trying to rebuild, trying to tank, get some picks, but I believe their first round pick goes to OKC. So the more they tank, the better pick that OKC gets. Cleveland's trying to make that run with Harden, play alongside Donovan Mitchell, and it's going to be one of the best scoring backcourts in all NBA in the all NBA. Like I said earlier, Anthony Davis went to the Wizards for Chris Middleton, two first round picks, 3 seconds, and that's just a year off of the Luka Doncic trade, which Anthony Davis really didn't play much for the Mavericks because he was banged up in a bunch of different injuries. But right now, it looks like the Lakers won that trade very heavily. Let's see how this trade ends up for Anthony Davis as the Wizards. But he's also going to be, like I said earlier, missing the majority, if not all of the remainder of the NBA season. Another couple moves is the Warriors got Kristaps Porzingis trying to get a big time center for Draymond to play the four, and little pick and roll action with Curry and Porzingis gonna be fun to watch them. And then Vucevic going to the Celtics. Didn't really see that move, but Celtics trying to get another big time player, maybe make a run in the playoffs, middle of the pack right now. And then, like I said, McCain to the Thunder coming off the bench. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander hurt right now. Not for sure how much he's going to be out. Is out through the All-Star break. See how much longer he gets after that. But McCain can step up for the Thunder and be a big time role player for them coming off the bench. So trade deadline winners and losers. Cavs, obviously, I think they won because they got Harden trying to win now situation. OKC got McCain coming off the bench. Gave up a bunch of picks though, 4 picks. But OKC is in a win now mode. They're young, have a lot of picks, and they're coming off an NBA championship. They're trying to repeat back-to-back years. So let's see how that works out with them. And I think it's going to be a good fit for Jared McCain. Jared McCain going to OKC. Then we got Boston Celtics, Vucevic. So he's going to be a good presence inside, and he's going to be a big piece if they want to make a run. Questionable is Trey Young going to the Hawks, rebuild, and then also giving up a few players to see how that works out. As Trey Young went from the Hawks to the Wizards, so that's a big piece the Hawks are losing on. We'll see how that works out for the Hawks and see what they want to do with that. If they're going to tank, try to get rebuild in the next 5 years, or not for sure what they're trying to do there. Memphis Grizzlies getting away from Jaren Jackson Jr. just tanks their defense as he's coming off defense player of the year, I believe, 2 years ago. But they also got a bunch of first round picks, so they're able to work with that and you know hopefully, hopefully they can get younger, get better, maybe build around Jaw if he wants to stay there lifetime. We'll see. Dallas Mavericks also after trading AD, they lost Luca a year ago, and draft picks, draft picks will help your team, but it's just drafting the right players. You draft a players injury prone like Zion, it's not going to work out, or you can land a big time player like Cooper Flag, and the Mavs did a good job, and they're trying to work around him. That's why they traded AD. They're going to try to get some picks working around Cooper Flag, maybe bring in a big time player and go from there. But Cavs are definitely the biggest contenders, bringing that all star player James Harden, and then the Thunder trying to keep building on to continue with the years to come. Going into the Super Bowl tonight, we got the Seahawks Patriots. Tips off 5:30 tonight is when it actually starts, but I'm guessing probably won't get off till 6 o'clock. Starts to be on banner, lineups, and Super Bowl is a long dragged out game. We got commercials, bunch of commercials, some good food, some good eat. So hopefully you guys enjoy the game tonight. Stay safe. And hopefully we don't have a blowout like last year, the Eagles and Chiefs. The Eagles laid down the hammer and just didn't stop from there. It's at Levi Stadium, Niners Stadium. Niners tried to play in their stadium, but they just lost second round. Tough beat for them, but yeah, it's gonna be a nice game. Looks like 70s out there. I wish I was there right now. But yeah, we're gonna get talking about the Super Bowl, what's to come, and have s- have a great rest of your night with Super Bowl showdown. Hopefully you guys are at a party, spend with your family. Seahawks Patriots coming the game. Spreads 4.5. Money line. Not for sure on that. Over unders 45.5. Don't do much on that, but I just had a slide outline that it made up on here, and that's what it gave me. So you got Super Bowl Sunday, February 8th. That's tonight, 5:30 or 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central. Levi Stadium, Santa Clara, California. It will be showed on NBC and Peacock. Halftime show is Bad Bunny. Also, Cardi B and Balvin is supposed to be on it. But if you don't want to watch those players, because I believe Bad Bunny sings in all Spanish, you can turn over to Turning Point America. Not for sure what that's on, but there's going to be a couple different things. Just depends what your interests are in. But see the too good. Uh, I'll be watching Turning Point USA, so won't be able to watch Bad Bunny. Just whatever suits your boat. That's the halftime show. MVP odds. Obviously, it's going to go to the winning team. Best quarterbacks are up there. Sam Darnold coming off that playoff run, one playoff game, the Vikings, but you went 14-3. Vikings traded away, and then obviously you got Drake May. Could be, I believe, the second youngest player in the NFL to win a Super Bowl, right behind Dan Marino. Not, I think there's like 200 days that separate them if Drake May comes out with that, and then obviously JSN, your offense player of the year this year in the NFL. It's a Super Bowl rematch of the 2015 Malcolm Butler. Obviously, if you watch the Super Bowl, then Malcolm Butler's goal line interception steal the Patriots victory and prevented the Seahawks from winning back-to-back championships. They got Marshawn Lynch, but you're gonna have Russell Wilson roll out and throw the slant. You just hand it off Marshawn Lynch, like, dude, beast mode. Are we serious? We're not handing it off to Marshawn Lynch, and we're gonna throw a slant pass. Pete Carroll, dude. I don't know. Interesting stories with Marshawn Lynch. One of the laughed in his face, laughed in Pete Carroll's face, and then Richard Sherman was just like, "What the heck are you doing, Coach?" I'd be so mad throwing a slant route right there. Like, are you serious? Road to the Super Bowl, the Seahawks. Be talking about the Seahawks coming in as the one seed in the NFC. They are high as the top seed. They defeated the Niners in the divisional round. That would be their first game. And then they played the LA Rams real tight, real close, 31-27, back and forth, late in the game. Sam Darnold's NFC title game, he played like a true and NFC MVP. 346, 3 touchdowns, and a dub. That's his best game of the year. But so far, we've been seeing MVP Sam Darnold. We haven't been seeing him throw those in INTs like he did against the Rams in the regular season. I believe he threw like four of them, two only in the Rams, plus whatever passes he did. And then we have the Patriots coming in as the AFC championships. They had an easier path, defeated the LA Chargers as the 7th seed. Then they went to go beat the Houston Texans with CJ Stroud throwing throwing five interceptions. That was a slot fest as Drake May also had a lot of fumbles. And then evidently, that AFC Championship game started to get snow fest late in the third quarter, heading into the fourth, and Patriots won that game 10-7 against the Broncos. Um, Sean Payton didn't want to take the points, got greedy. He could have taken the points early in the game, and it would have been a whole different ball game. But no, go for it on fourth down, don't capitalize, and you end up costing yourself an AFC championship. It's also a tough beat that Bo Nix wasn't playing that game. He had broke his ankle, so he had to get surgery. So Stidham had to play that game, and then Drake May did not have too high of stats in that AFC championship game. 88 passing yards, one touchdown, but they did get the dub. But both these teams coming in with top tier defenses. I just think Seattle Seahawks have the edge on the offensive side. Last time the Patriots made the Super Bowl was 2018, where they defeated the Rams. Seahawks last appearance was the back-to-back Super Bowls in 2013, 2014. Obviously, you know the game, that interception, not handed off to Marshawn Lynch, but it started off with that crazy rocket launch down the sideline and bobbling around caught. Then we going into some college basketball. Before we do that, hopefully you guys have a great night watching the Super Bowl, get a fellowship with some friends, and you know get some good eats. We're gonna be tuning in some college basketball. March Madness just right around the corner. We got a month to go until conference games, and then a month and a half to go till we get to that selection Sunday, first round, second round. Can't wait. It's probably my favorite sport, college basketball. 68 teams obviously make March Madness. They're trying to work around. They might add some more teams here to come. We'll see. And then March Madness is obviously in March, middle of March, because conference games start at the beginning of March. And I'm pumped for the season. I'm a Kansas Jayhawks fan. They had a finally good team coming off the unks of last year. They got younger and they got some dogs in the dog pound in Lawrence, Kansas at Allen Fieldhouse. Top AP top 25. We got the top 10 here with Arizona undefeated. They got a tough game tomorrow going to Kansas, Lawrence, Kansas, 22-0, but you're going to go play in the dog pound. Then obviously we got Michigan on here, UConn, Duke. Duke's coming off a loss to North Carolina. I believe UConn's coming off a loss to St. John's. So these are the stats from Monday. Yep, Monday. So a couple of these teams lost. Like I, I don't know if Michigan lost. I'm not for sure who they played. I think Illinois lost to Michigan State. We saw that fantastic double or single overtime last night. Jeremy Fears locked up the game for Michigan State. I believe he had like 22 points, 15 assists, 16 assists. Then we got at number 6, Gonzaga lost 10 and 12 Portland or something. Small conference game. They end up blowing that. So they're gonna drop down there. Iowa State took care of business against Baylor yesterday, beat them by 3. Houston won against BYU by a good 5, 10 points, something like that. Nebraska Nebraska handled Rutgers, I believe, by 12, and then Michigan State got that big time win against Illinois. And then obviously your number one team, unbeaten, is your 22-0 Arizona, 59 first place votes and 1,475 total points. Miami, Ohio is also undefeated as they're 22-0, but they haven't really played any tough opponents. They're ranked 23 in the AP top 25, and these two teams are the only undefeated teams left to go in March or in this college basketball this year. We'll see who's going to be the final one. Can Arizona hang on tomorrow? Will the Jayhawks dethrone them? And then I haven't paid attention to Miami, Ohio, but we'll see from there. Arizona Wildcats have been dominant. They have not won the games by a small margin. They've been destroying ranked teams left and right, especially the beginning of the season. They had a good opener. You play Florida and you got to be ready. Tip off first game of the season, and they just did that. Obviously, they have 59 of the 61 first place votes. If you're not giving them that 61 out of 61, I don't know what you're doing as those voters must be a little biased. Maybe they have a home team they root for, but yeah, Arizona's obviously should be the definite one team in first place votes. Their offense pretty balanced, and they get to the rack. They also can snipe around like Koa Pete and Braden Burries. Pretty two good freshmen on that team gets it done. And then their defense is absolutely insane. They have the number one scoring offense, top five defense, and their record shows as they are 22-0. Excuse me. The bubble watch teams on the fringe, just like Texas A&M. They lost to Florida yesterday. Bama. I haven't really been paying attention to them, but they got that G League player. I don't think that's right, but they're getting a lot of flame, a lot of heat about that pick. Bringing him in, getting the lawsuit passed, and that's Bama for you. Iowa's always going to be in that playing game, always going to be in the mix. They're they're always a good team. They'll always probably make March Madness, and they'll never be bad enough. But yeah, Iowa's just a solid basketball school. They had a good football season also. And then Kentucky's been comeback kings this year, winning a lot of comebacks. Like they just beat Tennessee last night. I'm pretty sure they were down 15 at one point. I tell you, OA led them to that win, and then conference tournaments approaching. Every game's critical. You have to be top four in the conference. Most conferences to get that double bye. So, especially playing the Big 12, you want that double bye. Otherwise, it's going to be tough to win your conference. Because if you only get a single bye, you're playing back to back to back to back nights, and that's a lot of basketball on those 4 days for those teams. Then if you don't get a bye, you play, I believe, five games in a row, something like that. Contenders to watch for March Madness, Michigan, obviously, they got a good offense with Lindenberg and Elliot Cadeau. And they also got a good point guard. I can't think of his name right now. And then UConn's coming off a big time win there, or a big time season underneath Dan Hurley's always going to make sure that their team's good. And then Blue Devils made the Final Four last year. They're always going to be a threat. Tough loss last night. Blew the lead. Seth Trimble hits the go ahead three in the corner. Last second buzzer beater gets it to go, and that's just a good shot. And then Gonzaga, I think they're frauds now after losing to Portland, but you know hopefully, coach can turn it around. I know they got a good coach there running the program, and see what the Zags can do when it comes to March. But I do think that they're going to drop out a little bit. Also, also you got Arizona, Houston, Kansas, Iowa State, Big 12, Illinois, Michigan State. I don't really think much of Nebraska right now, but Nebraska got them white boy shooters, UConn, St. John's coming out of the Big East, and then Duke, North Carolina, Virginia or ACC to go along with Florida, A&M, Kentucky, Tennessee. So there's going to be a lot of good ball in March to come. Selection Sunday is on March 15th with the tournament going to tip off. 17th and 18th is the first four. Followed along, I believe first four is only one game. Yeah, I believe that's so. I believe it's a 16 seed and an 11 seed that plays in the first four. So those teams have an extra game to go with that. So yeah, you got to be ready for March because it's going to be a gauntlet if you want to make a run and be in that Final Four championship game. Even the Elite Eight is a gauntlet just to get there. Kansas hasn't been too good, but hopefully they look to turn around and go to the next page here. This is gonna be the last page. Thanks for watching the Zaytime Sports Show. Hopefully, I get some updated merch in, and you're gonna stay locked in on the game tonight. Stay locked in. I want to try doing two of these a week, so hopefully, like Sunday nights or Sunday afternoons, and then maybe midweek, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, one of those days. But this is the breaking news. It's my analysis and all the sports things you need to know for those big three sports. Follow me on Instagram, YouTube, and hopefully you guys tune in. Thanks for listening to the NBA coverage today for the NFL Super Bowl analysis and then NCAA updates. We'll be back here. Not for sure when I can get the next one in, but hopefully you have a great rest of your night. Get some good eats and you know have a great rest of your week. See you later. Peace out. Zaytime Sports.